The Big Five, which are India's biggest conglomerates, have an all-pervasive influence on the lives of Indians, including you. If you've just started enjoying blazing fast 5G, that's courtesy the Reliance Group or Bharti Telecom, by way of Jio and Airtel. From the packet of salt in your grocery basket to the new electric vehicle you're saving the planet with, that's likely to be the Tata Group. The flight you caught last week probably took off from an airport run by the Adani Group. And if you've ever bought any apparel from Forever 21, that's the Aditya Birla Group. You may shrug and say, so what? But Viral Acharya, who was the Deputy Governor of the Reserve Bank of India between 2017 and 2019, thinks such a concentration of power is bad for India and, more importantly, bad for your pocket. Fleshed out in a recent paper, Acharya's thesis is that the Big Five wield immense pricing power across vital sectors and are contributing to elevated inflation. Thus, Acharya, who is a professor of economics at New York University's Stern School, feels that they should be broken up for the sake of fair competition. According to Acharya, Indian consumers do not benefit adequately when input prices fall because the Big Five control the manufacturing of metals, coke, and refined petroleum products, as well as retail trade and telecommunications. Acharya believes that the rising concentration of corporate power in India could make inflation even more persistent. However, these large conglomerates also have their proponents. They argue that for long, India's actual problem was that its companies were too small. Thus, they could not compete with large foreign firms or emulate their productivity gains. So, should India follow through on Acharya's proposal? Considering that there can be many nuances in any argument for or against the thesis, Business Standard spoke to Shailesh Haribhakti and Naushad Forbes, who have both seen how India Inc. functions from close quarters, to take the debate forward.
These large companies have embedded in them the power to do things at scale, use the right technology, and make goods and services available to India at democratized prices. The decision to structure the way the future should evolve must be left to the boards of these companies under a regulatory framework which is continuously tweaked in a democratic manner again.
Viral Acharya also contends that the Big Five have grown at the expense of smaller Indian firms. Meanwhile, for his part, Forbes also disagrees with Acharya's overall thesis, albeit with some caveats.
What we need to focus on is the market dominance in particular sectors, whether it's telecoms, whether it's shipping and ports, whether it's steel, whether it's any sector. If you have market dominance and pricing power that comes from that market dominance, then that's what you address through antitrust regulations, not conglomerates themselves. It seems to me that you should look at what provides the conglomerates with their benefit. If it is connections with the government, then address that. Remove the benefit that connections with the government provides.
Another criticism Acharya has aimed at the Big Five is that the government's extremely high tariffs have shielded them from foreign competition. He also suggests that if dismantling such conglomerates isn't an option, the government can instead make it economically unattractive for them to remain so large, unless productivity gains are truly significant.
We've seen big tariff increases in the last 5 years. That's not in India's interest. So if conglomerates have grown because behind tariff barriers, then address the core issue. Address the tariff barriers, don't address the conglomerates. You don't target bigness in itself. So you get productivity gains by really being world competitive, and that's what we should try to do. We should reduce tariffs as the best way of forcing productivity gains on all our firms. We should not leave competitiveness as a choice that firms make for themselves. It has to be forced on them.
While Haribhakti feels that Acharya's argument on tariffs is correct in principle, he cautions that certain preconditions will have to be met before lowering them.
Infrastructure availability, the quality of infrastructure at affordable cost, power tariffs which are fair and reasonable and low cost, and access to money at globally competitive price. If we can work towards these in a concerted manner, then I would like to see a time, maybe 3 to 5 years, and we could create a glide path to reducing the tariffs.
Acharya also criticizes the idea of creating national champions, which is considered by many to be the industrial policy being pursued by India. While he blames it for feeding directly into inflation, the idea has also come under attack from various quarters after the Adani Hindenburg saga.
So I don't think we have a national champion strategy, and I don't think we should have a national champion strategy. I think India's future looks much more like Germany than it does like South Korea or Japan. A future where you have thousands of firms that are really successful and stand for Indian industry, not a few firms that stand for Indian industry.
While one can disagree with Acharya's suggestion that the biggest Indian conglomerates should be dismantled, at least one other contention made in his paper will find acceptance across all quarters. Acharya says open dialogue around facts, opportunities and risks will help India become a significant beneficiary of the China Plus One transition that is underway. And one can hardly argue against Acharya when he writes that it would be nice if India can get it right in the coming decade.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.